Hello and welcome to another stream of the original Until Dawn by Supermassive Games to continue the sound effects only playthrough as part of celebrating the game's 10th anniversary. Hey there, Sona. How's your weekend going? The weekend's finished. What am I asking? How's your week going? Hope things are going well. Okay, so I had to restart the game all the way from the start to make different choices because even though I was going into mission replays, the way in which I was doing them, it meant that the original outcomes, even if I finished the game again after replaying from a certain chapter, it would still revert back to the original outcomes. So I had to restart the game entirely from scratch. And so now, um, just to recap where we're up to. So Sam respected Chris's privacy. Chris was happy to see Sam. Rats with bushy tails. This time we chose not to shoot the squirrel. Nature remained in balance, which meant that later on Sam, unharmed, hid successfully. The soul of discretion. Ashley discouraged Matt from using the telescope. Matt didn't see Mike and Emily flirting. Matt was relaxed when Mike and Jessica arrived at the lodge. Emily and Jessica fought. Whose side are you on? Matt sided with Jessica during the fight with Emily. Emily was aggressive with Matt. Be her hero. Mike came to Jessica's aid reluctantly. Jessica didn't appreciate Mike's reluctance to help, but he subsequently impressed. Jessica resisted Mike's advances. Something for later. Josh locked the baseball bat in the cupboard, but Sam made the right choices to avoid the psycho in the cellar. Sam made it to the hiding place in the elevator. To the rescue. Mike successfully chased after Jessica. Now, I accidentally did that. I was supposed to have Jessica die again because later on I wanted Matt to be in the mines alone. But because I accidentally started the process of getting the QTEs right, it meant I just kept on going until we saved Jessica. So that means that later we're going to have Jess and Mike in the mines, which still works because I still need to cover that variation. But I wanted to do the variation first with Mike on his own in the mines, but we can do that the other way around. And which one will die? Chris said that he would save Ashley. Ashley was grateful and felt indebted to Chris. At what price? Mike got to the morgue. Mike still had a usable machete. Man's best friend. Mike didn't kick the wolf. Mike made a friend. On the same page. Matt resisted Emily's plan to go to the fire tower. Matt kept the flare gun. Matt had a defense against the attack. Run or hide. Sam made all the right choices during the chase. Chris and Ashley found a dummy in Sam's clothes. In self-defense, Matt walked calmly through the herd. Matt and Emily escaped the threat unscathed. Who gets the gun? Emily gave the flare gun to Matt. Matt had a defense against the attack. Save yourself. Matt tried to save Emily. Matt fell into the mine and was attacked. Matt escaped death. Forewarned is forearmed. Ashley didn't take the scissors. Ashley had no defense against the psycho. Stick together. Ashley followed Chris. Ashley failed to see who was in the workshop. Point blank. Chris didn't shoot Ashley. Alright, so they're the things that we have gotten, and I still need to keep on playing until we finish the game again to lock in these outcomes. Because last time, even though I was replaying a chapter and then finishing the game again after the replaying that chapter, it still reverted things back to the original outcome when I tried to do other stuff. So surely, having started from scratch completely, these things will be locked in instead. Hello there, Anmita. I'm doing good, thank you, dude. Thought I would start some Until Dawn now, because potentially I could even finish it today, but we'll have to wait and see. But how's things with you? I hope things are going good. Hello there, Dex. Welcome on in. Hope things are going good. We're just about to do some more sound effects stuff for Until Dawn, the original. Going to be finishing the game again because there was something screwy with the way the replay chapter works where I would replay a chapter, make different choices, and then keep on playing till the game finished again, but then it would revert everything back to the original outcomes that I had. So I had to restart the game again from scratch, which still worked out because there were some things I needed to cover anyway earlier in the story. So worked that out. And now need to finish it again. And hopefully this time the things I wanted will actually stay locked in. And Mita, good to hear. It's going well, although you'll go to sleep now. You just wanted to say hi. That is totally fair in Mita. Definitely understandable. I hope you get some good rest. Would like to highly recommend people check out Amita's channel. He's doing a playthrough of Horizon Forbidden West, the longest game that exists in the world. He also does Elder Scrolls Online. He also plays Supermassive's Dark Pictures games as well. A great streamer, so definitely recommend. I hope that you get some good sleep in Mita. Thank you very much for popping in before you go to bed. And no worries at all for the shout out either. No problem. Yeah, at least now I know ahead of time if I ever play that game to expect it to be a long playthrough. So I can't remember actually where I left the story the last time I streamed this, but just a sound warning for those who have their headphones on that there will be loud sounds that will happen. A lot of the ones I do try to give a heads up for and also do a countdown because sometimes it's basically just aim at something and shoot. But other times though, things will just, happen and that. So, Lucinda, what a surprise. Thank you very, very much for the raid. Welcome to you and everyone. How was the rest of your stream? Hey there, Necro. Hope things are going well. Thank you, Mita. I definitely will have a great stream. Catch you later on your later stream. Absolutely. More Demon Souls remake later. I hope you have a good sleep, Mita. Hello again there, Dex. For those who didn't come in with the raid, would like to highly recommend people check out Lucinda's channel, doing a playthrough of the very first Watch Dogs. Also a big fan of the Dishonored series, as well as the Resident Evil franchise. We're just about to jump back into the story. I can't actually remember what part of the story I'm up to, but I had to start the story again from scratch and make different choices that I wanted to lock in because it was sort of a bit screwy with the chapter replay. Oh, hi. Stream went well. You hacked that tower, then you wandered around trying to figure out how to interact with the environment in different ways. Very good. Yeah. I mean, you're doing well. Like, the first act has like 9 missions, I think, so that in and of itself, and then some of the mini game stuff, like that one with the cups. As you get higher in that, they start to do video game shit where the cups literally just teleport. They're just really quick teleporting things like, yeah, sure. Good evening, Spectrum. It's going really good, thank you. Things are good. How about yourself? But yeah, unlocking those towers will definitely help a lot, give you a lot of options for fast travel points and stuff like that. Listen, you wondered how the hell they would make that interesting or different. Yeah, it gets really bullshit. I mean, it's kind of bullshit in the first few rounds of that, but later on, yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's like, yeah, sure they'd be able to move it that quick. I think they're good, the ones who did it in real life, but I don't think they're that good to be, superhuman speed. Oh, excellent, Spectrum. I'm glad to hear that you're going good. So just a heads up for those who came in on the stream, this is a sound effects only playthrough. So I've got the sound effects volume as the only volume, and I've got it turned up to full. So headphone users, just be advised that you might need to adjust your volumes. I do try to give a heads up when there's going to be like a really loud explosion, or there's going to be like a gunshot or shrieking, things like that. Sometimes it's up to me to control whether or not the gunshot happens when it happens. So in those moments, I try to give like a countdown for when I'm actually going to make the shot in the game and all that. But yeah, just a little bit of a heads up that you might need to adjust your volume as well, because yeah, there's some very loud sounds in this game. Oh yes, we're up to chapter 7. Sona, thank you very, very much for the 75 stream streak. Thank you, Sona. Really appreciate that a lot. Hello there, Max. Welcome. Hope things are going well. Okay, so I've already covered the soundscapes in this, but this whole area that Sam's in right now, it does get closed off to you if Sam gets captured by the Psycho. It's only accessible if you manage to escape. And there's collectibles and stuff. So if Sam gets captured, she'll actually wake up in this chair, and then you'll have to do some movements and stuff to get over to where Mike is. Hey there, Lethargic. You're streaming so early, it's a crime. Welcome, Lethargic. I hope things are going well. Lethargic, last night you had a panic attack listening to the Big Bang Theory's intro and hearing that the universe is 14 billion years old. You don't know why it sets you off. You don't know if that show is internationally known or not, but yeah. We got it over here as well. But yeah, that's right. I had to think for a moment because I was watching some of that show in the early times it was on, as in like when it first started and stuff, but I lost interest after a while. But yeah, that's a long ass time for the universe to be alive for. Like, imagine being a human living for that long. For 14 billion years. That's a lot of birthday candles. Hey there, John. Welcome on in. Oh, that's all good. No need to be sorry. Thank you for joining Lucinda's raid. Muchly appreciated. I hope things are going well. Lethargic. What the fuck do you mean that we came from bacteria? Now bacteria kills us. I mean, if it's any consolation, there is good bacteria. Okay, so just trying to think what I need Emily's fate to be in this part of the game. She won't die there if you miss the QTE. All that happens is the game just resets the swinging part. Lethargic, evil versus good bacteria evolution battle. Yeah. Lara Croft would die if you missed that in the most gruesome way ever. That is true, yeah, it'd probably land on a spike that goes through a throat or something like that. There's definitely some brutal kills in those newer Tomb Raider games. Spectrum, you love the Big Bang Theory, so funny. Yeah, there were some episodes that I thought were quite good. I think after a while I got sort of tired of the whole shtick and was just like, yeah, this is going to be what the show is for 10 plus years, then nah. I prefer a miniseries. Just give me like, you know, a 10 episode miniseries and that'll be good. Because then, you know, it's got a beginning, middle and end. Lethargic, she kind of just falls on the ground in the older ones, huh? Oh, not necessarily. It's just that the newer games were able to render more graphic deaths, whereas in the earlier games, if you like fell into some spikes, there'd be like an animation for it and stuff, but it wouldn't be like in gruesome detail. You bought The Dark Knight on disc. It's such a good movie. It really is. Lethargic. 2008 was when that one came out. Just a heads up that there's going to be a really loud sound with this minecart. We need to push it through a wall and it's going to hit the blockade, whatever you call it. Spectrum, you've watched it twice now. Oh, that's good that you've enjoyed it. And then you can sort of like pick your favorite episodes then and, you know, go back and rewatch them. Lethargic, that wasn't bad, not Arkham City loud. Lethargic, specifically the main menu. Oh, the main menu can be really loud. Yeah, I've never really noticed because whenever I normally play a game, I turn the sound effects down the most out of the other volume sliders. Spectrum, you're going through X-Files for the third time now. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I remember watching those when they first came out. Lethargic for you. The X-Files was always a good time to go to sleep whenever you're watching TV as a kid. Yeah. Yeah, I think I might have been like around 10 years old when that show first came out. I remember getting freaked out by the, I think it might have been the first or second episode, that guy that could go through air vents, like really small, tight spaces. If you fail in these QTEs, it just basically makes the character start from the start again. Lethargic, there's always a show that's just your cue to realize you've been up too long. I mean, that theme song is so iconic. I heard a remix of it once that was quite good by Moby. I think Moby did one. But then again, it could have been someone else as well. So I don't need to worry about getting collectibles. And any optional conversations you can have with characters, I just skip them because I've already covered that kind of stuff. And I'm at the point now in the playthrough where it doesn't really matter whether Emily lives or dies, because I've already covered all the deaths that can happen for her character, and we're in chapter 7 still, so there's 10 in total. Oh no, Lethargic, not yet. Yeah, it's just a few minutes past 11 a.m. actually. There's a chase sequence coming up. It doesn't matter if you get captured. All it really changes is where Emily starts the next section afterwards. I mean, there are differences that you see in the moment, but it doesn't lock Emily out from a certain, like, potential spot where she can, you know, survive versus die, anything like that. Spectrum, it's too bad that some shows you loved when they first aired, you just can't go back to. Like Bionic Woman, you tried, but it's just so bad, is it? Yeah, that can be the thing too. Like at the time, there might not have been something else that you could compare it to that comes along later that you enjoy more, and then it makes the other thing look very, very bad. Lethargic, dang. Okay, so quick maths tell me you're 17 hours ahead of PST time. And that's a lot of hours of difference, like holy shit. I'm gonna fail this turn on purpose. Just quicker. Or it feels quicker. We'll do a little bit of slapstick. Lethargic. Happy Sad Titanic 114 anniversary in late 2. Oh damn, 114 years ago. That's a long time since Rose left Jack to die. Spectrum, 9:05 p.m. in West Virginia. You love the sound of crickets? Oh yeah, that can be interesting sound as well, except when you're telling a joke. Lethargic. Is this an interpretive dance playthrough? I mean, it could be. I mean, if you had no sound, you could add your own music. Add like Swan Lake to all the parts where they're doing jumps but failing. Just for context, for people who haven't played this game before, and it does go into spoiler territory. I mean, we're right in spoiler territory visually right now, but I mean, there was a tragedy that happened in this place a year before, and Josh, the guy in the overalls here, his twin sisters went missing, but they just figured they were dead. So he wants to get back at his friends because they did a prank on one of his sisters, Hannah, which led to her running off, and then the other twin went off after her, and then they went missing. And so he's created this big elaborate prank to get back at them. His parents are horror filmmakers, so what he's done is he's set up all these fake dead bodies and all this kind of stuff. And so one of the characters potentially has died or can die, and that wasn't part of Josh's plan because he didn't realize that there's actually some kind of supernatural presence going about on the mountain, which, spoiler alert, is the Wendigo. And so he's been completely oblivious to this kind of stuff. And so now that he's unveiled that he was the mastermind behind a lot of this stuff, the other characters naturally assume that he's been actually killing people. But that's not the truth. And the real threat, they actually don't exactly know about it yet. Lethargic feels like a musical with no music. Yeah, the other thing too is like you see how much work goes into making sure that the sounds happen at the times that they need to, but they're the right sounds and that they don't actually sort of like distract, where it'd be like, hang on, that doesn't sound like someone's foot stepping on some snow. It sounds like a gunshot, you know, stuff like that. Don't want things to be noticeably incorrect. Spectrum, thank you very, very much for the 230 stream streak. That is excellent. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I've already covered the different choices here, so there's no real sort of like, I must choose this or that for this part. But soon there will be a sequence where I need to make sure that Chris survives. Ryu, hey there, dude. Thank you very, very much for the 51 months of subscribing in a row. Hell yeah, that's so cool. Thank you very much, Ryu. I hope things are going well. Can we order pizza? Yeah, that's one of the things, one of the funniest things that Josh says in this game. It's also when, like, they're tying him up here and, you know, it's like, it talks about wiggle room. You know, it needs a bit of wiggle room. Give me a better wiggle room, will you? That sort of thing. Spectrum pizza party. Hell yeah. I love pizza. Pizza is delicious. Also meat pies. They're delicious too. Hey there, Sketchies. Welcome. Playing the good version, you see. That's true. Yeah, the original. Yeah, but it mistakenly gets attributed. I mean, the remake mistakenly gets attributed to Supermassive, but they did the original. Sony owns the IP, so when Sony remade it, they got someone else to do it. Ryu, ironically, you ate pizza today. Oh, very nice, dude. What kind did you have? Spectrum, hubby and you are starting a barbecue chicken and onion pizza right now, for real? Oh, very nice. That's cool. I love barbecue chicken pizza. That's delicious. Just regular cheese, Ryu? Cool. So you have an upcoming choice. You can do nothing, you can hit the gun out of Mike's hand, or you can hit Josh with the baseball bat. Which, if you choose that choice, it's very lucky you didn't get killed. Right now, they're basically confronting him about Jess dying. And he's like, I don't remember Jess dying. Ever killing her. Which is true, he didn't. I mean, in this playthrough, I've got Jess still alive for now. I've already done each one, so we're just going to leave it go. This makes me think of like a character being left alone in an isolated area because they've caused some problems. Reminds me of John Carpenter's The Thing. There's a character named Blair, and when he starts showing signs of madness, i.e. throwing shit around and, you know, claiming everyone's, you know, a thing and all that kind of stuff, he gets put into his own little area out in like this shed thing. Previously, on Until Dawn. This fucking asshole is the bad guy. This fucking asshole is the bad guy. Then they decided to take him to the shed, and the guy asked if they could order pizza. Exactly, that's the recap we needed there from Arnie. Thank you for redeeming that as an impression review. Thank you. I remember that first playthrough I did where I did that every time. I think it was every time the Arnie impression. I might have mixed it up with other ones. Or rather, mixed other ones into the different ones. Toasty! Let there be light. Alright, so we keep on going ahead here. So in Chapter 8, there's a sequence where Chris goes with the flamethrower guy to go and get Josh because they finally find out from the flamethrower guy about the Wendigo. And there's some choices that you can make before that sequence that will mess you up in that chase, even if you get all the QTEs correct. Code, thank you very, very much for the 240 stream streak. That is a lot. Thank you very much for that, Code. Alright, so I've decided that I'm going to have Emily survive. At least the next section. So Emily got bitten there. If she had the flare gun still, and she didn't shoot it, of course, when getting it, she'd be able to use the flare gun against the Wendigo. But that's okay, because the Wendigo bite doesn't actually turn you into one. However, characters like Ashley and Mike and all that, they don't know that that's the case. Which leads to a potential point where Emily can get killed. Ryu, them Wendigos move like them old Harryhausen stop-motion creatures. That's a good call, Ryu. Yeah, there's definitely that sort of like stop-motionness about it as well. And given the tributes and homages to other kinds of horror that they do in this, I wouldn't be surprised if that was intentional too, as well. It makes me think of like Goro in the earlier Mortal Kombat games. How he was done using stop-motion. Alright, so the flamethrower guy is going to turn up soon. Cutscenes in this game aren't skippable, even if the next thing that would happen after the cutscene is simply a choice like this. Like these choices, without a timer, you can literally just stay here for as long as you want and make your decision. You can't even skip cutscenes to these points when they're a next point thing. That's in the original that I'm playing. I don't know about the remake that they released. They might have added skip to choice or something like that. You're speaking of which, such a great call to make Goro a giant animatronic puppet in the OG Mortal Kombat movie. That is true, yeah. You know, like going with that concept as well. And it was quite effective. I mean, sure, you know, it does look a bit weird, you know, but I think it worked well for 1995. Knock, knock. Open the door. Get on the floor. Open the door. Now. It's freezing out here. You animals. Let me in. Come on. I'm cold. Come on. Do it now. Open the door. Do it now. Come on. I'm here. Do it now. Open the door. Not familiar with that version of the song, Ryu. Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur. There must be a remix version. Okay, so coming up is the sequence where Chris will get chased, and depending on your choices with who you shot earlier, will determine, even if you get the QTEs right, whether you will actually die. Everybody walked the dinosaur. That flew by your head. Yeah, that's actually what I was referencing when I said open the door, get on the floor. I just didn't say the rest though. I was actually trying to think of something else that rhymed that had Wendigo involved, but I'm just like, no, I'll just leave it at those two things. Okay, so take note of how Ashley looks at Chris and what goes on in this scene. This gives you your first clue as to whether or not Chris will even survive this whole section, even if you get all the QTs right. If that's the reaction, you know that she won't close the door on him when he finally gets through the QTEs. However, if earlier you shot her, even though there was no actual bullets in the gun, but they didn't know that at the time, if you actually choose to shoot Ashley, she won't look at you like that and won't kiss Chris, and she'll close the door on him even if you get the QTEs successfully done. Because she's like, fuck you, you're going to shoot me. Even though there was no bullets in the gun, but still. You're speaking Walk the Dinosaur, you heard the Mario Galaxy movie was alright, but not as good as the first one. By the first one, you do mean the 2023 movie. Exactly, Ryu, yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting, though, to go straight to, essentially the Mario Galaxy games. But it makes sense to expand to include more characters that were from those. I actually quite like those. I thought they were pretty good Mario games. So just a sound warning coming up. There's going to be some gunshots, because I do need Chris to survive. So we're going to be getting the QTEs, and also I want to shoot the explosive barrels because it's fun. So that'll be really loud too as well. So headphone users, it's probably a good idea to adjust your volumes. They could have easily done World though, maybe next time. That's fair, yeah. I mean, introducing Yoshi, it would have been fine to do Super Mario World next. Be interesting when they do the Mario Kart movie or the Smash Brothers movie. So in this upcoming sequence, if you want Chris to survive and you've made sure that you didn't shoot Ashley earlier as Chris, if you fail this don't move, you're fine. It won't cause him to die. However, if you fail shooting the Wendigo or the explosive barrels near the Wendigo at any point, then that's when Chris will die. But because we chose not to shoot Ashley earlier, she kissed Chris, and so when we get through this section, she'll open the door for him. Or he'll just run straight through, and no. So yeah, just a heads up for users about the sound volume. It's going to get really loud in a few moments after this don't move section happens. Which I'm going to fail, just because it's quicker. The first movie actually did have a kart racing scene complete with Rainbow Road and a fight scene between Mario and Donkey Kong, which felt like Super Smash Bros. Oh, cool. Well, that's a good way to pay homage to those games then. Alright, so loud sound incoming. He always dies, it doesn't matter what choices you make. Alright, so we made it. Oh yeah, the door is closed. So if you shot Ashley earlier, she'll just lock the door and Chris will die, even if you get through that QTE section. But we chose not to shoot Ashley, so Chris lives. Ryu 1995 wins. Fatality. Thanks for the GGs, Lucinda. Okay, so we've got all the characters that can be here at this point in the story, all alive. Oh yeah, Lucinda, there's no trouble at all. Thank you very much for the raid. I hope that you get some good rest. Would like to highly recommend people check out Lucinda's channel, doing a playthrough of the first Watch Dogs. Also a fan of the Resident Evil series, as well as the Last of Us series. Also has some really cool raccoon-themed emotes as well. Thank you. I definitely will have a great rest of the stream. Who knows, I might even finish the game today, but we'll see. But thank you again for being here, and I hope that you have a good one. That's all good for the shout out. Absolutely no trouble at all. Thank you for being here. So this part, if Emily's been bitten, you'll get the choice as Mike to shoot her or not. If you shoot her, well, she's dead of course, but after she's dead, you can still find out, or the characters can still find out, that getting bitten by Wendigo doesn't turn you into one. And so if you did choose to shoot Emily as Mike, then they're like, oh fuck, we didn't have to kill her because she's not going to turn into a Wendigo. But we're going to choose not to shoot. Is that the Alliance map on the wall behind her there? Okay, so we chose not to shoot Emily. Ashley will soon read the journal of the flamethrower guy, and she'll read a passage where it says that getting bitten won't turn you into a Wendigo. And then you get the choice of whether or not she owns up to finding out about that or not. And we're going to go with the she owns up to it. The way that the way that Ashley reacts here, the way that she slowly moves, that's the same no matter what happens in this section, and no matter who is still alive. So if Chris is dead, she'll still do the same thing. If Emily is dead, she'll do the same thing. If Emily's dead before this point, of course, then she'll do the same thing too, as well. Which would have just saved them time, instead of having to do 5 or 6 different variations. So cannibalism causes the Wendigo, or someone to become a Wendigo. And the guy says in his journal, I've been bitten, but I did not change. The only way is to eat the flesh of another. There is no other way. I wish the writers of the movie actually read that. understandably, if you own up as Ashley to reading the passage about how getting bitten doesn't turn you into a Wendigo, understandably, you'd be a bit pissed off at being basically accused that you're going to turn into one and then potentially being shot at. So I think Emily's actions here are a bit justified. Okay, so we're almost through chapter 8, and we've got 2 more chapters left. Alright, chapter 9. Mike explores the sanatorium again. Okay, so there's going to be a loud shotgun sound coming through. I'm going to do a countdown from 5 before making the shot, but that's something that is coming up. So just a heads up for headphone users to adjust volumes. So this is the door that we need to shoot the lock of. Okay, so I'm going to make the loud shot in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With this shotgun as well, you have unlimited ammo. So every time there's a QTE to shoot something, you can safely shoot everything, and Mike will still have enough to get through. He won't run out of ammo. Okay, just another heads up that there's going to be some really loud sounds happening. There's going to be a lot of gunshots and explosions and screeching sounds and all that kind of stuff, so that's coming up in a few seconds. Loud sounds coming in. So that's that sequence. There's some more walking, but then there's some more being chased by the Wendigo and gunshots and stuff. So still a heads up for people to adjust their volumes. Especially the final shot, because it's going to create a big explosion. If you make those choices to barricade and you get that option and you haven't fucked up a QTE and the wolf hasn't died, then the wolf will not jump down and he'll still survive. But if you don't barricade the door, he'll die. Big explosion. So I need to show the variation where Chris dies in the sequence where there's a voice and the character thinks they're hearing one of their friends, but it's actually the Wendigo. But I need to get first to the end of the game, and then I can go into chapter replay and then cover those situations. But I'm going to lock in a choice here, because I may as well at this point. Hello, Mr. Goatee. Untilling dawning, indeeding. How's things, dude? Until indeeding. Dee-dee. As the Jawas say in Star Wars. Oh, nice, Mr. Goatee. Glad to hear that you're going good. Been on all the Resident Evil games? Oh, very nice. Yeah, there's a lot of gems in that series. Which one are you up to at the moment? I've already covered what happens. I've already covered Ashley's deaths here. There's two variations on how she can die. When you go and investigate the voice and you go to the trapdoor, if you unlatch the door but then walk off, that'll be one variation of her getting killed by the Wendigo. But the other variation is unlocking the latch and opening the trapdoor. It's a slight difference, but it's a difference nonetheless. However, the result is the same. Ashley will die in that point. And now that I've got Chris alive, he too has the opportunity. So if you're playing this for the first time and Chris is still alive and you didn't know not to investigate the voice and you killed Ashley, then if you just go ahead and kill Chris, it's like you haven't learnt your lesson. Unless you wanted to do an everyone dies playthrough, obviously. Mr. Goatee, just playing all the modern games. Now it's just waiting and saving up money for your trip. So keeping yourself distracted with my streams and games. Very nice, Mr. Goatee. That's cool. Got to be getting excited as well. Getting closer and closer to when you go and visit Japan. So I've already covered the sounds of what happens if Chris just like walks down the tunnel and all that kind of stuff. Because I need to show both variations, I'd rather show them back to back, and the only way I can do that is to replay chapter, and I don't have the ability at the moment to replay chapters, so we'll just get Chris to survive this part too. Mr. Goatee, yeah, it's super real now, which makes it go from cool to holy shit. And then it'll be the day of, and then you'll be like, holy shit, it's finally arrived. Thank you very, very much for the 130 stream streak, Mr. Goatee. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's a lot of streams. Mr. Goatee, you'll just be like, bye, Rod, in chat. See you in a month. Yeah, that's true, you know. Get to the point where it's like, well, the trip is upon you. Time is here. Alright, so that'll be chapter 9 finished. Oh no, hang on, that's right, yeah, we got Jess still alive. But I don't know if that happens in this chapter or chapter 10. You want to try and keep the streak going and at least watch once while you're on vacation. That is cool as well, you know. But if you can't, then that's definitely fine as well. Totally understandable. Even a stream streak of 1 is appreciated. In this part, just like with other climbing QTEs like this, failure doesn't mean death or anything like that. It just means you have to start all over again from the start of the climb. Okay, Sam's got the flaming eye of Mordor, so she'll be fine. Okay, now chapter 9 is done. Into final chapter now. You ununderrating like, then the guy escaped. He's a fucking choir boy compared to me. Yeah. That's Arnie in Until Dawn. When they go. Now. When they gone. Okay, so there's going to be some really loud sounds in this sequence. And if you're eating at the time, I probably wouldn't watch. But yeah, there's going to be really loud sounds coming up in this sequence. Oops. I wanted to press the prompt for this, but I was too early for it. Thinking about what I have left to cover, I think it'll probably take one more stream after this one to completely finish the playthrough. Because the final thing I'll have to do is replay from chapter 4 again. Either that or chapter 5, but I think chapter 4, and then play all the way through. Because changes I want to make in chapter 4 are reflected later. You love how they kept the sound of him getting slapped. That is true, yeah. And if you do the right things, there's a moment where Emily will slap Ashley. If Emily gets bitten, and then you choose not to shoot her as Mike, and then when Ashley finds out that getting bitten by the Wendigo doesn't turn you into one, and you have her decide to actually own up to discovering that information, then she'll try to, console Emily about it, but then Emily will just be like, you, so it was her all along. She turned into an ass-fucking Wendigo. What a shock. That is true. There's a few different Wendigos as well that are going around too. But yeah, that is one of them. Okay, so initially I wanted to have it that only Matt would be here alive at this point, but I accidentally was pressing the right QTEs in the chase after Jess gets grabbed by the Wendigo, and I was like, okay, well, I still had to do this variation anyway, so we'll just do it the other way around. This time I'll cover what I need to with Matt and Jess alive, and then I can do another variation later where I cover what happens when it's just Matt on his own. But I need to get them to survive for this pass. Matt and Jess have successfully survived until dawn. Alright, so here, in this final sequence, it doesn't really matter what I do, but considering both Ashley and Chris are alive, I've already gotten the variation where they're all alive anyway, for the sound stuff. So it doesn't really matter what outcome I get, as long as I get through this chapter, and then we'll get replay chapter again. Then I can start the process of doing things differently. Hey there, Maria. Welcome. Good morning to you too. It's 4 a.m., is it? Very, very, very early. It's about 12:30 p.m. here at the moment. I hope things are going well. Just a heads up that there will be a lot of loud sounds happening in this final sequence. A lot of screeching and all that kind of stuff. Maria, yeah, you like to wake up early before work. Hope you're doing well as well. Well, that's a good idea too, and then that way you get some time to get prepared, and so you don't have to feel like you're just jumping straight up and then going out the door as well. And yeah, I'm doing good. Doing some more of this game, getting closer and closer to finishing the whole playthrough. But I do need to redo stuff to show differences because there's different scenarios with different sounds and stuff. So I've been covering character deaths and showing all the different ones and all the different sounds for each one and stuff. It's tricky because there's some choices that are early on in the game that can affect later stuff. Oh, nice view. Thank you for uploading something to the Discord. Your latest banner for the classic Mortal Kombat movie from 1995. This banner can easily be the actual movie or a slight alternate variant of the film. Oh yeah, you've used the version of Christopher Lambert's Raiden that was in one of the games later as DLC, wasn't it? Was that Mortal Kombat 11? Yeah, that would have been really cool too, to have their alternate outfits as well. Oh yeah, Ryu, so it was Mortal Kombat 11? I gotcha. Okay, so loud sounds incoming. There's a lot of don't moves in this part of the game. Ryu, Liu Kang with the red headband and Sonic looking close to a classic MK1 look. Exactly, dude. Yeah, they were good outfits. To see them in the movie would have been cool. Ryu, the ninjas look perfect though. They did. They did a really good job with them. Maria, are you planning to check the sound in the remastered version as well and see the difference? Oh yeah, just the original. Yeah, it would be interesting though to see what changes they might have made in that department too, because they did a whole different music, an entire soundtrack for the new version compared to this one. But as for sounds, yeah, not too sure. No, they died. It was actually interesting because Ashley and Mike, who died there, it actually showed some close-up shots of them, um, which is good to cover because I've done that part so many times, but I haven't done that variation as well. Um, but Emily and Chris, they end up getting out of there. Um, but I can redo that part in different ways too, just to cover my bases. But what this will do now is it's locked in all my choices so that when I do chapter replay, I can just go in and show the differences. Um, so still a little bit left to do. Once it gives me the option to skip cutscene, I will. I like the name of the catering and craft services. Rise and shine, catering. Rise, shine, and stuff your face with food. Okay, so I'm going to check the butterfly effect. Now we have the ability to replay episodes again. When you finish the game, you get the option to go back into episodes. However, you can actually lose some progress and stuff for later things. But that's what I'm going to be able to use again for covering differences. So we go into status and collectibles and butterfly effect. Okay. Left behind. Ashley left Chris behind. Ashley ignored the voice. Ashley joined the others. Chris caught up with the others. Okay. So that's good. So that's been locked in. Now, what I need to do is go back into that chapter we just finished, and I'm going to work my way systematically backwards to cover the things that I need to. So if I have a look, at my notes. All right, so we've got Matt and Jess together in the mine, and so I need to cover now what happens to Matt and Jess in the mines. Hey there, Carly. You love a kill that's fucking brutal. There definitely is a lot of brutal deaths in this game. That is for sure. Absolutely. Alright, so we're redoing this part again. There's nothing that can be done different, that I need to do different anyway. In this very specific spot, no matter which direction you walk in, it'll trigger each of these little cutscenes. In this sequence too, eventually there'll be a loud screeching noise, so just a heads up for people to adjust their volumes. It's all part of Josh's hallucinations that he's having. I did that again. I'm like, I want this prompt, not the other prompt. The radius of when that other prompt is on screen is close enough to still be accessed. even if the character's physically far away from that point. Okay, so this time around, in this part, we're going to have Matt do a really dick move, and we're going to have him abandon Jessica when they have the final opportunity to actually survive. So I can cover that for the sounds. Maria's such a gentleman. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, sorry, Jess, yeet. Also, this glitch with the lanterns in this game is funny. Any character that carries a lantern like this type, that'll always happen. They'll do this weird thing where it just spins around. So there we go. That's what happens if you abandon Jessica as Matt. I will need to redo this multiple times though, because I need to get the variation where Matt will fail that QTE and then he'll end up dying, I assume. While you can do chapter replays, you can't do checkpoint replays, unfortunately. So I can't replay this chapter and just skip straight to the part with Matt and Jess. So I want to go for the variation because I've got everyone, except for Matt and Jess, of course, but I've got all the other characters who can be here at this point alive still. So I want to cover the outcome when they all get killed, just to see if there's any close-up shots of the other characters too, like we got with Ashley and Mike when they got killed. Emily will push Ashley if you had Emily alive after being bitten by the Wendigo and it was decided not to shoot her as Mike, and owning up as Ashley to finding out that getting bitten doesn't turn you into a Wendigo. If you do that, then Emily will slap Ashley in that scene, and then in this scene, if she's still alive, she'll actually push Ashley out of the way there. So on this. Okay, so if Sam dies there, they all just escape. Okay. Okay, so now what we need to do, when I can skip the cutscene, is we're going to go back into chapter 10 again, and when it comes to the Matt and Jess scenario, I'm going to have Matt abandon Jess again, but this time when he's on his own after that, I'm going to fail the QTE to cover his death in that moment. So I'll have to redo this chapter a few times to get the different variations on that. To my rescue, Mike successfully chased after Jessica. Jessica was still alive. Jessica failed to escape a second time because someone abandoned her at the moment. And then the result of chaos. Sam died in the lodge, Mike died in the lodge. Ashley escaped, Emily escaped, Chris escaped. Alright, so we need to replay that chapter again. And this time, have Matt abandon Jessica again, but then on the circle QTE that happens afterwards when playing as Matt, fail that to get that version of Matt's death. Now that we're up to this part again, just to recap what I need to do now. This time around, I need to have Matt abandon Jessica, but then fail the QTE afterwards, so that we can get Matt's death at this point. Damn. And there we go. That's what happens if you abandon Jessica as Matt, but then fail that QTE. That's how he'll get killed there. Alright, so now what I need to do is replay chapter 10 again. This time, when it comes to the Matt and Jess section, I need to hide, choose, well, not choose, but I need to choose hide, then succeed at the don't move, press square, and then instead of abandoning Jess this time, we'll do the right thing. But then there's another don't move that will happen when it's Matt and Jess there, so I've got to cover that as well. So that's what I'll be doing next. As I said before, while you can replay chapters, you can't go to specific points in chapters and be like, right, I want to go to this point with Matt and Jess, for example. So we need to replay everything with Josh and his hallucinations and all that kind of stuff before we get to that point. But in terms of that final sequence with the explosion in the cabin and the lodge and all that, I don't think I need to worry anymore too much about that. So what I'll do when I get past the Matt and Jess section, I'll just basically go straight into chapter replay because I do need to get some other variations aside from what I'm going to do next as well. Maria, you would just barricade yourself in a room with a heavy door and waited until dawn. And hopefully that would suffice. Hopefully that would actually be something to survive with. I mean, as long as you didn't make too much movement as well, because the Wendigo can sense movement and stuff. I get a lot of deja vu with this playthrough. It's like Groundhog Day. Maria, you hate Josh, but at the same time, you really I don't blame you one bit at all. It's very tricky too because like what happened with his sisters is definitely tragic. What his friends did was definitely not warranted or anything like that. It was a pretty stupid kind of prank to pull on them. At the same time, they couldn't have known like the ultimate thing that would happen as a result of that too. But then, Josh understandably would feel resentment towards his friends. But at the same time, the lengths he went to pull off the pranks and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, just it's overall not a very good mix at all. So this time around, what we essentially need to do is to get Matt and Jess to be outside, and then there's the don't move, and this time I need to fail the don't move with both of them on the edge. Ouch indeed, Maria. Yes, lots of ouch there. So that's what happens if you get Jess and Matt to that final point, but then fail the don't move. Now, because I've already covered a lot of the stuff after this point, and I need to redo what I just did, but make some changes. there's no point in playing the rest of the chapter out. So we'll just go back into episode select and we'll just start chapter 10 again at this point. I'll still have to redo everything that you have to do as Josh and all that, but at least I won't have to keep redoing the final sequence now. And there's a first point where you can choose hide and don't move, and if you succeed at it, there's a prompt to press the button, the square button, but if you miss it, you'll most likely die. Now, I don't think there's going to be much difference between failing the don't move and failing the QTE, because both characters are positioned in the same spot, so I won't have to cover both of those variations. So what I want to do this time around is we have the first choice of whether you hide or not. So I'll get the hiding, and then I'll just do the dying from... I've got to think about this too, because you've also got the characters of Matt and Jess dying because they choose not to hide as well. That's right, the other option was a run, so square. Yeah, so we'll fail the first don't move this time around. Okay, this time around, when we choose to hide, we fail the QTE. I don't think there'll be much difference between failing the don't move versus succeeding at it than failing the QTE right afterwards, because both characters are in the same location. So I'm just going to cover the variation where it's failing the don't move. Okay, so there's one more variation that I want to cover, and that is not even choosing to hide in the first place as Matt and Jess at all. The thing is, you can get to this location um, with Jessica already dead and Mike still alive, and you can also get there, I think, with Jess still alive but Matt dead as well. And the more I think about it, I don't think I have to do both variations where it's either Jess alone there or Matt alone there, because I've covered their actual deaths enough by the Wendigo after this next one I'm going to do that I don't think I really need to worry about covering that with either Jess just alive or Matt just alive. Hope things are going well. You have mail. Wrong address. No, just kidding. I think you wanted Lord Region. This is making you hungry. Well, I hope whatever food you decide to get, it's enjoyable. This part's definitely not for eating and watching. Lego. Imagine you put a black and white filter on, mute everything, put subtitles and call it a silent game movie. Yeah, I'll do that kind of style with it. Like, Supermassive Games, who did this original Until Dawn, not the remake though, someone else did it. They also did The Quarry as well, and in The Quarry there's a few different graphics filters you can have on. You can have black and white on, and you can have a VHS retro filter. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can also get 1950s outfits and 1980s outfits for the characters too. And so I've done a couple of playthroughs of The Quarry where one playthrough I had the VHS filter and the 80s outfits, and then last year I did a playthrough where I had the black and white filter and the 1950s outfits.